Hey yo, look, rest in peace to Barbara Davis. We hit another layer. When she speak to me, it's like she's saying prayers. I feel like Randy Moss when he was on the Raiders. Man, they love it.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to episode 2 of the Valley Talks podcast. I'm Sons Worldwide. I'm joined here with the other host, the man himself, Trevor Booth.
Hey, man. Excited to do episode 2.
We are going to do some elite yapping today. You guys seem to enjoy the yapping in the first episode, so we're going to bring it back. We're going to start building that chemistry and continuity just like the Phoenix Suns are on the court. So just hit that subscribe button. Leave a comment down below, like the video, do all that, and join us on our journey because it's gonna be elite. So I think to kick it off, I think we should start off with I don't know, let's start with Book's podcast with JJ Redick. Let's start with that.
Yeah, no, JJ Redick is one of my favorites. I think he's one of the few people who can tailor basketball and the ins and outs of the game to the audience while also being a very good speaker. And I loved his questions he asked Book because, Book doesn't do things like these a lot. And Book tends to be pretty consistent with us in the media in being, good with his answers, but also relatively succinct. And I felt like JJ got him to open up a little bit. That might have been because of the wine they were drinking.
Yeah.
But I think it was in Book's house, if I'm not mistaken.
It was.
Okay,
Book he was very picky about the camera placement in the background.
There you go. So, I thought Book had a lot of good answers, and we got to see some insight on him. Like I said, he doesn't do this a lot. So,
yeah, it was great to see some personality from Book. The only real personality we get to see is when he talks some trash on the court, and of course, when you guys interview him at practice and such. So it was nice to see Book open up a little bit and just kind of deep dive into his career because he doesn't really do stuff like this. So it's always cool to hear great basketball mind perspectives, especially JJ Redick as well. I think he's one of my favorite guys in the media. I like that he speaks freely, doesn't really care, doesn't really have an agenda for anything. So, yeah, if you guys want to go ahead and check out the Old Man and the Three YouTube channel, you go watch the Devin Booker podcast. I believe it's like an hour and something. And yeah, but check us out first. Okay, so for the Celtics and Suns game tomorrow, Jaylen Brown is questionable with the hip contusion. Kristaps Porzingis is out with the right hamstring. Right hamstring strain, a little tongue-tied there. And Al Horford isn't on the injury report as he missed Tuesday's game at Utah with left a big toe strain via Dwayne Rankin. And then for the Suns, Josh Okogie's out once again with an abdominal strain, I'm assuming. And Damian Lee once again is out. But he did travel with the team, so we're going to get into that. Eric Gordon is questionable. I believe he's day-to-day with that little knee problem he's got going on. And Nasir Little is moved up to probable. He hasn't played since February 25th against the Lakers, and that was 1 minute. So I'm not even sure how Nasir got hurt. If you want to go ahead and take it away, Trevor.
yeah, he's had little nagging injuries. I know he's been listed with knee irritation and some other, I think it was maybe a hamstring or something related before the All-Star break. And then, obviously there was a lot of reports out there that Nasir was being dangled as the one trade piece the Suns were looking to move ahead of the deadline when they made the move for Royce O'Neal. So, and, we were talking about it just before this podcast. Nasir had a really good game against the Rockets post-Christmas, and that was the game that KD tied his career-high 16 assists, and I thought he was moving well off the ball, using his athleticism and maybe looking like he could be, have a role on this team. And ever since then, it's been little injuries here and there, DNP. So I don't really know what to expect from Nasir Little the rest of the way, other than he's shown some promise and he's also got some value given that, he was a former top 2 high school recruit and everything like that.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be interesting. I also thought Nasir Little, after he had a couple of showings this season where I thought he looked like a solid rotational player, but I almost feel like the Suns in a way just kind of told Frank to not play him due to like trades and such, because he was honestly one of our only pieces that we can move around at the deadline, and he's kind of stuck here now. I honestly don't see Nasir Little being on this team next year. And yeah, currently for the Suns, he's averaging 3.9 points per game, 2.1 rebounds, 57% true shooting, so not terrible from the field. Honestly, did not know he was shooting that well. So I honestly don't know why Nasir hasn't been playing, besides the ticky-tack injuries and such. But kind of getting past that, Damian Lee, via Dwayne Rankin, has traveled with the team to Boston. What do you think about that, Trevor?
Very encouraging sign worldwide. This has been so we got an email, I think it was the day before or the day of media day back in October, that Damian Lee had suffered that injury on the, I think it was non-contact in the practice facility the week before, leading up to media day. And it's been a weird thing. I've talked to a friend who had actually torn his meniscus, and he was saying it was a 4 to 6 week kind of thing for him. You know, that injury and some knee injuries really vary on timeline. So I don't want to say that's what it is, but we have had conversations, you know, just me and a couple media members saying this seems like it's taken a little longer than you would expect. But regardless, very good sign for Damian Lee. I think a lot of people are excited to see what he might be able to provide, just given how he shot the ball last year. 44.5% was third in the NBA. And the Suns are starting to shoot more threes, and they're looking for a guard or another ball handler to be in that second unit. So if Lee can find himself, let's see if he gets a chance, you know, because I know that there's only a month, maybe like 17, 18 games left in the season, and you want to fine tune things by now. But if he gets a chance and he shoots the ball well, that would only help things going into the playoffs.
Yeah, I thought it was very encouraging to see Damian Lee travel with the team. It kind of, I mean, I'm just kind of on the outside looking in. It kind of feels like they're going to start ramping him up, maybe potentially. Just a guess, taking a shot in the dark here, just a hot take. Maybe we see Damian Lee return here maybe in the next couple of weeks here. I know the regular season is winding down, so it's gonna be kind of tricky with how the Suns handle this, because Damian Lee once again was balling last year. He played 74 games. He started 5 of those. He shot 60 point. His true shooting percentage was 60.7%, which was incredible. Once again, he was on a Grayson Allen type year, and honestly would just provide another great rotational piece that can shoot. Because Damian Lee, I had high hopes for him again this season. I thought he was gonna have a similar season to last year. And honestly, I think he just would have killed it in this offense. So if Damian Lee does come back, and hopefully he's still the same, because meniscus injuries and stuff is tough. I just kind of wish the Suns. I feel like they've been kind of. I don't know. They haven't been really open about Damian Lee and kind of what's been going on. So it's always nice to see little updates like this. So yeah, shout out Damian Lee. Hope he gets back soon.
Absolutely. And I think, you know, if for those of you who don't know, if you follow the Sun Space community on X or formerly Twitter, I've been at practice and seen Damian Lee. Last time we were there, he was going through some stationary dribbling and also some form shooting at the end. So don't know the extent of his participation in practice, but we have, meaning the media, seen him do some stuff at the practice facility. So he's at least getting closer. We do know that.
And since we're on the injury topic, Eric Gordon is day to day. He's been battling with those little knee injuries. Hopefully, Eric Gordon. I don't know. I hope he gets back to himself, because he was on a I thought a pretty good streak, and he's kind of gone cold. I know it's tricky with his injuries. One guy I've been missing a lot, Trevor, is Josh Okogie. I don't know about you. He provides so much hustle. And the last time Phoenix matched up against Boston, I thought Josh Okogie was a huge piece that we were missing as far as hustle, because he usually gets those little putbacks, and that helps a lot. I know he doesn't really shoot it well from the field, but he's a great defender, great hustle guy, high energy. So it would be nice to see Call Me Nonstop get back on the court sometime soon.
Yeah, Josh is he's so important. You know, he won the Hustle Award last year, and he really came on as a starter and someone who was expected to fill a role. I really think worldwide that, and you know, a lot of people could see this different ways, but from my perspective, when he started the last 25 games of the regular season, and then the rotation changed and Torrey Craig started in the Clipper series, I think that stunted what Josh was doing a little bit, and maybe affected his confidence. And, he had such a good start to the regular season. And then, this year's just not been great for him. He's not shooting the ball very well. He's a below 30% 3-point shooter, but he can provide that level of defense and offensive rebounding. And it's not like he doesn't quit, right? Like he's not out there quitting
No, not at
completely.
all.
Yeah. Since he's not shooting the ball well, it's just, to make shots or to be on the floor with this team, you got to make shots and not take away from the offense, especially if you're going to be playing next to Kevin Durant, if KD is indeed out there with that second unit and Beal and Booker are on the court with him. So, but yeah, Josh is just really good for the morale of this team. I imagine in practice, he makes guys compete and makes them better. So having him back is a huge plus just for that alone.
I do want to introduce a new segment here. This is going to be a little bit of, we're going to pay some homage here to the late, great Dave King. We're going to do a little segment here on post-game days called the Dave King Player of the Game. Mm-hmm. And I'm going to give it to Devin Booker against Cleveland. Yeah. Devin Booker is for sure my player of the game, coming back off an injury. I think he missed like 4 games, something like that. Came out with a great sense of urgency and really kind of seemed like in that first half, like the only guy that kind of had it going. So that's my Dave King player of the game. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, and I got to give it to Kevin Durant. And for those of you who don't follow me on Twitter X, I host the Spaces, which is like a live podcast with speakers. And I made a promise to our listeners that every 35-point game that Kevin Durant has the rest of the year, I will sing his verse of Scared Money, which happens to be the intro to this podcast. So if you see me on the Spaces and there's like a moment of silence, just know that in my mind I'm just going, in this hoop world, I'm Freddie, Jason, and then I got to chill. So, but KD had 19 in the third and the 3 threes to close it. I think having Book back is a big reason. I don't know why Cleveland, and KD was saying that. He's like, why, I didn't really know why they were helping off. But that's the thing with these 3 on the court. Like, you got to pick your poison. And with Grayson and Royce, worldwide, I've said I think the Suns have the best 8, when they put it together in the playoffs. But anywho, Kevin Durant, 37, 8 and 6, 3 turnovers early, but didn't have one the rest of the game. 5 of 10 for 3. He's my Dave King player of the game.
100%. Can't go wrong with any of them either. Bradley Beal also had a pretty big game. And that's just special when you see these guys go out there and score 20 points each, because, that's kind of what you envision when you put these 3 guys together, especially in the offseason. So, yeah, it's good to see games like this. Hopefully they can go into Boston tomorrow and take care of business and do the same thing. But, Trevor, I got a question for you.
Yes, sir.
Going into tomorrow's games, what are your key takeaways for what the Phoenix Suns have to do?
Yeah, good question. I actually had an article on this over at Clutch Points. If you guys want to go over there, it always helps to read, get readers on the articles and everything like that. Book's going to make a difference. Absolutely. I think, Boston, interestingly enough, worldwide, they feel really confident in their defense, and they absolutely should. They just don't have a one-on-one answer for Kevin Durant. And unlike most situations that the Suns have been in recently, to my recollection, there was a lot of Kevin Durant post-ups and Kevin Durant touches where he wasn't getting doubled in that game. And he had his best game points-wise as a Sun. He shot 18 of 26 and had 45 points and 6 assists, 6 turnovers. So you'd like to see that get down. But having Book back, there's just so many things you have to guard. And I think this is the problem with so many teams in the NBA is, like, not only do the Suns have 3 very good scorers, they're 3 level scorers, and they're also pretty egoless guys. I might have said this on the first podcast we did, or on the first episode, but Book, KD, and Beal, a problem with these guys is overpassing, which on a team of superstars like that's like very
unlikely.
Yeah, which shows just like how much these guys are. They have a level of respect for one another, and they know what they're capable of doing, and they're having conversations to Bradley Beal, like he said here in his press conference, like, no, like, go be yourself, go be Bradley Beal, with Book and KD, go be you guys. So I think Boston's going to have too many players to guard, and I'll be honest, worldwide, I think the Suns go in there at TD Garden. I think the Celtics only have 3 losses this year, if I'm right. And I think they get the Celtics. I think they get them by double digits. I think it's just going to be, the Suns have looked very good when they're healthy this year, and I don't expect Grayson Allen to get just 4 3-point attempts. I think he got in that game. The Suns role players, so Grayson, Royce, and EG shot a combined 4 of 20, 2 of 19 from 3, I think someone said, and they still only lost by 10. Like, add Book and those guys having a better night, and I think the Suns get a winning result.
Yeah, 100%. And with Kristaps Porzingis being out, he's helped the Celtics out a lot this year. Jaylen Brown, questionable. I mean, there is no reason Phoenix can't take a win here. I know Boston is are they number 1 with their home standing this season?
Yeah,
I know
they had
haven't
a
lost.
historic start. Yeah.
A pretty good streak, I know.
Let's see. Yeah, their home record's 29-3. Yeah, so they only lost 3 games at home all year.
Well, hopefully tomorrow that is 29-4. I'm expecting a huge. I think Bradley Beal is going to be player of the game. That's my prediction.
Yeah.
I think Bradley Beal is going to kill it. It's just Boston's kind of a difficult team to guard. I think I've said this to you in a DM. They've just been so electric from the 3-point range, and then they have so many guys that are like 3-level scorers. You got Jason Tatum, he can score anywhere on the court. Jaylen Brown, which is questionable, can get a bucket anywhere besides that left side with that left hand. And Kristaps Porzingis as well. So I have to agree with you here. I think Phoenix goes in there and shocks the world, and hopefully ESPN shows some love to Phoenix because I'm tired of the media bashing us.
Yeah. I guarantee worldwide it's going to be a topic of did the Suns win or did the Celtics lose? Like one of those sneaky ones, you know what I mean? Because you'd be hard pressed to find an ESPN segment that gives positive comments about the Suns.
100%. I kind of want to shift our topics here to something kind of fun. Devin Booker, or not Devin Booker, but Sneaker News on Twitter. I'll put the images up on the screen. We have a new Devin Booker colorway that has officially been shown. I think they're the Chapter 1 hike, if I'm correct. Animal hike. They have a bunch of different names, I guess, for them. They will be dropping on April 6th with the Haven colorway, which I thought is interesting. So probably going to go broke that day. Honestly, I like the colorway. I thought the fur part on the collar or whatever is kind of strange. I don't know if you saw that.
Right.
But I mean, I mess with it. I believe the hike colorway is modeled after the GT Cut 2 that boat dropped last year with Nike. The Keep It Tight, as I'm looking at it, kind of similar. Okay. But yeah, I think they go for like 150. I definitely recommend getting a pair. What are your thoughts on the colorway?
Yeah, I'm not the biggest fan. I feel like it's this colorway, and me saying this, I know like 100% I'm going to end up getting it. Like that's just just who I am. Like it's Devin Booker's shoe, and I got a pair of the Mirage V2s, and they're extremely comfortable. One of my favorite shoes ever, if not my favorite shoe, just because it's got the book on it, right? And then like it's a suede and cloth material. It's just so comfy. I'll probably end up getting those. Not my favorite. I got to find something to wear it with, but then big fan of the Havens. I think of the 3 that have come out, this is the one I'm most looking forward to. I think the black is going to go. Like I think worldwide, if I ever get me a little lady again, I might rock those on date night. Like my first date, rock the little book Havens.
That's what we're looking for.
That's what I was thinking about when I saw those. So
it doesn't matter what you're wearing. If you got the book ones, you will be like Book. You got the aura.
Oh yeah,
automatically 10 out of 10. It just comes with aura.
I got a pull from that. So yes, sir.
100%. But they are for sure an interesting shoe. Just kind of looking at the PRM Animal as what they're calling them. The outsole, like the bottom of them, is like the first pair that dropped, the all orange colorway, the clay orange. It's like similar material too, as I'm kind of looking at it. It kind of has that rattlesnake feel, kind of that gator skin kind of look. So definitely different from the Mirage version 1 and 2. And honestly, as I'm reading the Twitter comments here, a lot of people are liking these, which is shocking because it has Devin Booker's name on it. So
yeah,
shout out to the sneaker world, and I'm glad these are finally getting people's attention. And I'm glad that these shoes are getting love because these are honestly something different. Um,
Hmm.
the future classic, they transcend on and off the court. We haven't seen this from honestly a basketball shoe in a hot minute. Anthony Edwards' shoe isn't like this. Jason Tatum's shoe isn't like this. It has that casual look for sure, but it's definitely a comfy shoe. I just got in a pretty good 2 hour session hooping in them, and I thought they were really good. I'm not gonna lie, no bias or anything. If the logo was Nike logo was off, the book logo was off, and they said try these, I would 100% buy them.
Yeah, they are that comfortable. Like, unfortunately, I've had in my basketball career too many ankle issues who I think wear these just since they're low cut. But as
Same.
a casual shoe, yeah, no, I love them. I definitely continue to wear them and get some more. I had so interestingly enough, today on the podcast, Book was talking about they don't really care about you, meaning like people talking about you when you're early in your career, and then when you start to have success, that's when they start talking about you and everything like that. And for those of you who don't know, I have my take. You can see it on my profile right away on Twitter X at Trevor M Booth. When you go there, that in my profile, Devin Booker is a top 2 player. There's a lot of reasons for that. If you want to check my highlights tab, I've explained it several times, but today I posted a little spaces and explained it. Simply enough, Book's been the best player on the best team in basketball in the last 3.5 years. And his first playoff run, he had the most points by a player ever. It was like 604, something like that. Back-to-back 40 balls in the finals. I don't think that finals loss was anything in his control. I think he did his very best. And if Chris Paul and some of the other teammates stepped up, like Book could have a ring that year. 22 was top 4 in MVP voting on the 64-win team, best in Suns history. And then last year had the 9-game run where he shot 70% true shooting, 311 points, hadn't been done since Michael Jordan. He had the crazy month, conference player of the month this year. I think, and the reason I bring that up is because some guy had a trending tweet where he was talking about how, how this is for like Book and SGA and Tatum and Luka. I think aside from Luka, Book is in a different stratosphere than SGA and Tatum with what he's accomplished to this point. And I think that Book, like, we talk about this interview, this is a rare time where we get to see Book open up. He's usually casual, focused on hoops, and same thing with Kevin Durant. Like when you're that way, it doesn't advance the NBA brand anymore. And I think when you do have like some sort of thing that you're providing that gets social media moving and gets some trending behind your name, people tend to put more eyes on you, and they put more eyes on you than some of these guys. So I think from a pure hoops perspective, Devin Booker is right. Like he gets it, and I think people have undervalued Devin Booker since his rookie season. And I think to a degree, he still is undervalued. I think a lot of people consider him the best 2 guard in the league and a top 10 player, but with what he's accomplished, you'd be hard pressed to tell me that he's not top 5, if not, top 2 where I have him.
Yeah, 100%. And kind of circling back to the podcast, so there's a couple of quotes that I found on Twitter that I kind of want to share with everybody. JJ Redick asked Devin Booker when he started hearing about himself. Book then responded with, "Nobody cares about you when you score 30 and lose. Nobody hated me then or disliked me then. That comes when you start winning games." And that is 100% true. We've seen it. I just feel like, there was still hate there with Book, but I just feel like it's gotten louder as he's gotten on bigger stages.
Yeah.
I feel. So I found that interesting. Then JJ Redick then asked Devin Booker about the front runner narrative. Devin Booker, as a rookie, was talking shit to me from day one, down 20 in the Staples Center. I thought that was fantastic. What was the other one? He said, okay, then it was Devin Booker said, "Believe it or not, I usually don't start it, but all I need to do is hear any little thing." And then JJ Redick responded with, "That's what sick fucks do."
Oh, that's great.
It was a great podcast, honestly. I'm only 30 minutes in, but from the 30 minutes I've watched, it was fantastic. And then what I was most forward looking to hearing was Devin Booker on the reactions of a 70-point game, and he kind of opened up about it. He said, I was 20 years old. I was celebrating. It was just a great feature in my career for a season that we didn't have much going on, and it gave me a lot of promise going into the next season.
Mm-hmm.
100% agree. Then Book then opened up on playing with Kevin Durant. He then said, "You're dealing with a guy that really loves his craft, always being a fan, and then hearing those types of stories about how obsessive he is with his work. You really find out that he only cares about hoops. It's like a match for me, just like you said earlier."
100%. I think it's been so cool. I actually just wrote a story on Clutch Points about that. Him saying that KD was his favorite player and everything. And Book he's a man. I think people of Phoenix have known it. PJ Tucker, what was it, Tyson Chandler, who said in the Book's rookie season, that he was already like the best player on the team, like team kind of name.
Yeah, was it in the rookie vet series?
Yeah, that might have been it. And he's been so good for so long, and worldwide, I'm not sure seeing Book in person how many times, but I know, like, for me, I went to Arizona State, and the Suns had the $5 games, and we used to go just for fun, and we all knew that Book was the man, and you had to watch him, and a lot of people didn't watch him. They were Donovan Mitchell was getting a lot of the raves, Zach LaVine at the time over him, and then Book stayed nothing but be steady. And I think that's incredibly commendable that he stayed on this path with the Suns through their worst years maybe ever, and now he's a part of their best years maybe ever. And he's been there he's been doing the same thing throughout. You see the numbers. It's consistent, and he's continued to get better as a defender last year, leading the playoffs in stocks, and also his playmaking this year has just been out of this world, being one of two players that are top 6 in points per game, top 11 in assists per game. He's just he's continuing to grow. And Bradley Beal at the media day this year, when I asked him, said that he's going to continue to push him. And when you got guys like Kevin Durant and Bradley Beal helping sharpen you every day, that's only going to help sharpen Devin Booker.
Yeah, 100%. I've only seen Book, I think 3 times now. I've seen him twice in Minneapolis and one in Phoenix. Okay. I saw him dunk on D'Angelo Russell. I was there for that game. Pretty proud of that moment. And then I think last year I was at the game when Booker dropped 40 and they missed that game winner against the Rockets. I think it was December 2nd, if I'm correct. But yeah, man, like, one thing, I was talking to somebody else about this. When sometimes in class, I mean, of course we all get bored. I'll go back and watch Booker highlights from like 2 to 3 years. I'll watch them in order, and it's like I'm not even watching the same guy. Like, it's odd. And I know JJ Redick said it on the podcast too. He's like, there's a lot of guys that are great, and they don't really get greater. They just stay great. And then there's guys that are great and they get better than greater, or better than great. So it was something like that. Not exactly how he said it, but I agree with it. I've never seen. It's not even like watching the same player. I don't even know how to explain it. It's weird.
It really is. And we'll see what's in store this year. I think this is a playoff run that a lot of people are excited about. No matter where the Suns are seated, they got to go through a gauntlet of teams, but they got a trio of superstars, man, that, like we've said, put a lot of pressure on opposing teams. So I'm really excited to see where they go.
And I do want to share one last thing before we wrap it up here. This guy on Twitter made a top 25 list, so this is going to be great. This is in order of how he has it too. At 1, he has Jokic. 2, he has Giannis. 3, he has Luka. 4 is Steph. 5 is Kawhi. 6 is KD. 7 is Embiid. At 8, he has Shea. 9 is LeBron. 10 is AD. 11 is Tatum, and Booker is 12. And then below Booker is Jimmy and Donovan Mitchell.
Okay.
Yeah, I thought that was crazy. I'm not going to lie.
Well, and I said this on my spaces about Booker being the ranking that I think he is. Basketball is a subjective game. We all view the game in a different lens, and we all prioritize different 100%. Things. So it's hard to rank these guys right and say that this is where they're at. I think it just depends on what you value. And ultimately, I think winning is the most important thing in basketball. And not only can you provide an elite set of skills or skills that separate you from anyone else and make you hard to guard, unguardable, or you can lock down anybody. I think when you're scouting, you look for those sort of things from a physical standpoint and what you can do as a basketball player, but then also the intangibles. And I think Book has the blend of both. A lot of people consider him the Kobe-esque type stuff. And yeah, I respect those lists. I think a lot of people would agree with the list like that worldwide. The thing is, Booker's a lot more accomplished than Shea and Tatum, and it's in
100%.
history. So I don't understand what he's missing behind those guys. It just doesn't make a lot of sense to me.
Yeah, because I also then quoted that tweet and I said, you can't put Shea over Braun, Anthony Davis. You can't even put Shea over Tatum, honestly,
Right.
and Book. And then Kevin Durant, if this was my list, I would put him above Kawhi and Steph and put him in that fourth spot. I think you could mix match Luka and KD for the 3 and 4 spot. I know Luka does a little stat padding. I don't know if you've seen that trending recently.
Yes.
Did you see the Shea? Did you see the Shea one too?
I've not seen the Shea one, but I have my opinion on Shea.
Yeah, you can check out the spaces for that.
Yeah.
But it was to get Kevin Durant's, I think it was most 30-point games in Thunder history, and he purposely fouled. And they were down like 10 with like a minute left, which, I mean, honestly, I have my opinion.
That's all cool worldwide, but if you're focused on that in the game, that says something about you. It's like, what are you about? I think people are going to be surprised when those type of players who do things like that don't necessarily do that well in the playoffs. I think that's a trend we've seen with a lot of these foul baiters and people focusing on the individual awards rather than winning.
Yeah, 100%. What else? Yeah, I think honestly that wraps it up.
Awesome.
Thank you guys for tuning in to the Valley Talks podcast. We had a great 30-minute show of yapping. Hope you guys do enjoy this. Once again, all of our socials will be in the description below since we can finally do that. Had to handle something with YouTube. So all that will be below. Go check that out. Make sure to leave a like. Turn on post notifications as well so you don't miss a podcast because we are the elite yappers of YouTube. And we're going to keep on yapping and hit that subscribe button. I don't know about Trevor, but I mean, we were ecstatic with the first episode results. It was really cool. I think the watch time was like 4 hours.
Really positive. Love that.
It was really cool. There were some really positive comments and such on the Instagram post as well. So just honestly, thank you guys. And I hope you guys continue to stick with us on this journey as we figure out the podcast world and kind of see how this works. But yeah, I think it's going to wrap it up. And I'll see you guys in episode 3.
Thanks, guys.